Okay, let's talk about some modifications, upgrades, and accessories that I like for the BMW R1200GS or R1250GS. So I think most important thing we should probably talk about is bike protection. So when I think about protecting a motorcycle when I'm going to be riding off-road or even on the street or gravel roads or whatever, I start with handguards. So on this bike, I've got Bark Buster VPS handguards with the Storm, the larger deflectors. I always put on a really solid mount metal handguard. There's a few reasons for that. One is that obviously if you drop the bike over, you're not going to break your levers, or you're very unlikely to break your levers. If you've ever broken a clutch or a brake lever on a ride, it's kind of a big bummer. The other thing is that if you were to hit the handlebar into a tree or any other immovable object, then it kind of protects your hand from getting crushed by whatever that object is. So I just like having the metal, really strong metal cage handguards. I don't have any affiliation with Barkbuster, but these are specifically designed to work on this motorcycle, and so I like that. They're custom made for it, so the brackets fit perfectly. Everything just bolts right up. It works for me. They're, I don't know, 150 bucks, something like that. The other, another thing on bike protection, on a GS especially, is an engine bar. So I'm not a huge fan of engine bars normally on a lot of motorcycles, but on a GS you really want to do everything you can to protect your cylinder heads. If you put a hole through the cylinder head, you're going to have a really bad day. So get an engine bar. My choice is the Puig or Puig or whatever you call it. It's Puig. It's a Spanish company, I think. The reason I chose these was because they integrated well to the look of the bike, and they were fairly affordable, and they seemed pretty strong. They mounted pretty easily, and I've been happy with them. The other thing to protect the engine on this bike, I use the Machine Art Moto cylinder head covers. The reason that I have both this and the crash bar is that if you have an impact to your engine, you see these just really protect from falling down. But a rock or a big branch or anything could go through here, and if it does, you're still protecting your engine from anything getting through the crash bar. So that's an important part. The other thing on bike protection is a skid plate. So on this bike I have a skid plate. It's called Foxhill Moto. It's sold on eBay. No affiliation, it's just something that looked good. It's a nice, strong, thick bash plate. It happens. Here's a better shot of this FH Moto skid plate. You can see it has a lot of good mounting points, and it protects way back towards, it covers the whole exhaust, and does a real nice job and looks great. It was a little bit finicky to get mounted with a crash bar, but I made it work with some spacers. So nice job on the skid plate, whatever company this is, FH Moto, you can see there. That works well. To be powder coated in black, which I really like because I try to have a blackout look on my bike. Whether you get an Alt-Rider or a Touratech, it doesn't really matter. Just put a nice sturdy skid plate on your motorcycle. This is the 500 and something pound bike. If you come down hard on a rock, you better damn well have some good protection down there. I do have the luggage racks, which kind of double as extra protection for the exhaust and things, but mostly I can mount my soft luggage. Okay, sorry, I had to bring the bike inside because it's getting cold and dark. A few more items of bike protection. On the 1200GS and on a lot of modern bikes, the headlights are incredibly expensive. I think this headlight is no joke. It's like $1,600 or something if you were to break it. So put on a headlight protector. Now, I decided to sort of play Russian roulette, I guess, because I like to live on the edge. And I got this cheap one from China, from AliExpress or Alibaba, whatever you call it. It was like 20 bucks, but actually, you know what? It's not that bad. It fits fine. It'll protect from rocks, and for 20 bucks, you can't really beat it. I know there's issues with, maybe they copied a design or something, and copyright infringement and taking away American jobs, and I'm probably single-handedly ruining the economy or taking someone's job away. But I'm sorry, I just, these Farcos get expensive, and so I thought I'd try something. I never ordered from China before, from AliExpress, so I thought I'd give it a try. And in this case, it worked okay. But I guess my point is that you need to have a headlight protector no matter which brand you get. Okay, I know it's a little crappy of a video, but radiator protection, you can see I've got these radiator grill covers here. That's important because if you get a rock coming up, you don't want to puncture your radiator. So that's a good idea on these bikes, is to protect your radiator. Here's another angle on the Puig engine bars or crash bars. I do like them. I am probably going to get the upper bars that kind of go over here for the bike, not only for the protection of that plastic up there, but also because I want to mount some auxiliary lights and some mounting. It'll be a good mounting point for aux lights. So some more protection I have these frame covers here. This kind of protects if you're, what I found is on bikes that I have a long time, my boot or whatever I tend to wear motocross boots and it kind of rubs off the finish on the frame. So I put these plastic protectors here, hopefully to stop that. I have this little side stand sensor switch here. I've got a slider thing here on the final drive. So I guess the idea is that if the bike were to slide, this would be the sacrificial part instead of the metal drive unit. So I've got this little cover here for my brake, not master cylinder, but reservoir. It's cheap. I've got another frame protector here. Here's another shot of these crash bars. So that's about it for bike protection. One more thing on bike protection. I guess this isn't really protection, but just something I like is this side stand foot. So your side stand doesn't sink into the sand. These are pretty cheap and something I recommend. Okay, comfort and ergonomics on the GS. Let's start with the easy stuff. The seat on this bike is really comfortable. I have the comfort seat from BMW, which is actually really comfortable. I don't know how they were in the past. I've heard some bad stories about older BMW bikes with their seats, but this one's super comfortable, so no issues there. I have the stock grips because they're heated grips. I talked about the bark busters, but that's not comfort and ergonomics. I do have the stock windshield, which I find works really well. I talked about this in my review of the GS, but I love how it goes up and down. It provides an extremely smooth, stable flow of air. In the down position, I get a nice, smooth wind flow on my helmet for warmer weather, and when it's up, it shoots it over my head. So I have no really intention of changing the windshield at all. A lot of times when you change the windshield on a bike, you end up making things worse because the bike wasn't designed with those aerodynamics in mind, so be careful about that. Let's talk about one of the big things, bar risers. So it's such a common modification for guys or girls to go out and put bar risers on their adventure bike because what they think is that when they stand up, they want to be able to stand straight up. So let me jump on my bike here, hopefully not fall over on camera. But you see, when you ride off-road, you want to be in a bit more of an attack position like this. So you want to be, you kind of have your joints loose, and able to provide some suspension. So guys who are standing like straight up like this and with their arms kind of locked like you would if you had bar risers, it's not a good thing. And it can kind of throw off the weight balance of your bike and it throws off your body being able to work as a suspension. So don't automatically assume you need bar risers. There's a really good video by Brett over at Moto Trek. He talks about this as well, and I really agree with him. So really consider your riding position and maybe try leaning forward a little bit more and down when you're standing to see before you put bar risers on your bike. It's not that expensive of a modification, but if it's not necessary, then why do it? Also, you can have issues with cables and things when you start putting on bar risers, so something to consider. Let's get into sort of controls on the motorcycle. So on your foot pegs, I ended up going to the Black Dog CycleWorks foot pegs. They have a huge platform. You can see this is the stock peg, which is a joke. I mean, come on, BMW. You need to do better than that. I'm sorry. I know the GSA has better pegs, but this is what comes stock on the standard GS. And here's the Black Dog peg, which is humongous. It looks great. I love the black finish. It's incredibly well made. It's made in the US, and it comes with all the installation, some stuff to make installation really easy. So great job, Black Dog CycleWorks, on those foot pegs. I did go, this is the only alt-rider part I have on my bike. It's the dual control foot lever. The thing I like about it, number one, it's made in America and extremely well made, but also it gives you the second lever, the second platform here. So the idea is that when you're standing up, that when you stand up, the front of your foot tends to be higher up, and it can be hard to reach the brake lever. So they call this dual control, so that when your foot's on the peg, you can use this lower platform, and when you're standing up, you're more naturally going to be getting this upper platform. Honestly, I'm still getting used to it. It's kind of the jury is still out kind of a deal because it's a little hard to get used to, but I do think that I will end up liking it. So I know this really isn't an accessory or anything, but I want to talk about levers for a second. So I see so many people riding their bikes with the levers not adjusted properly. So I think, again, Brett over at Moto Trek has a hell of a good video on the importance of getting the angle and the reach right on your levers. I try to set them so that it's a good compromise between sitting and standing, but I like my wrist when I'm, this is not a good example because I'm not on a bike, but I like my wrist not to have a real bend either way. So set the angle of your levers and think about how that affects the bend in your wrist, and watch that video by Brett if you have time. Okay, so I normally wouldn't have an exhaust system on a GS, but I happened to buy this bike and it came with the Akrapovic titanium exhaust. It looks freaking amazing. Of course, it has a price to match. And personally, I probably wouldn't pay to put this on, but since it had it, I was like, what the hell? It has a carbon end cap with this dual outlet that looks really nice. It has a nice rumble sound to it. It has a good sound. But what I really like is look how this is turning blue. This titanium is so beautiful. When it gets hot, it turns blue like this. It also has this carbon fiber cover. Very impressed with the quality of it, and you should be for the price this thing is. It's like over $1,000. So I have this on my bike. I like it, but would I recommend going out and buying it? No, not really, unless you get a really good deal on it. Okay, luggage, big topic for most people. I have another video out there on these Tusk Pilot panniers, which are really great and a great value. No affiliation with Rocky Mountain, by the way, and I paid for these with my own money. But the reason I like to use soft luggage is a number of reasons. One is weight. It's definitely a lot lighter than hard panniers. Two is that if your leg gets kicked back into the bag, you're not going to get injured. I've ridden with hard panniers before on other bikes. I had them on my 990 R, and what I found was off-road, even on a fire road, if my leg got kicked back by something, or I was paddling through something, which happens on an adventure bike, it just felt really, really scary to me. One time my leg got pushed back into the pannier really hard, and I felt like in some situations you could break your leg or break your ankle or just get screwed up. So I like the soft bags. These are obviously not mounted right now. I just had them thrown over here so you can have a look at what they're like. So I use soft panniers, and you can load those up with as much stuff as you want. Tank bags, I used to always use tank bags in the past, and then I kind of had a period when I got away from them. What I don't like about a tank bag sometimes is that when you're standing, it can kind of sometimes get in your way a little bit and kind of hit your crotch or hit your stomach area if you have a belly. So that's kind of a bad thing about them. But the good thing about them is if you want to have your camera here to take photos, or you want to have some snacks, or maybe your drink, or your helmet cloth, or your phone, whatever, it's such a convenient thing. I have this Tusk tank bag, which I don't think is out quite yet, but this is going to be something coming from Rocky Mountain. It's called the Olympus. And then for top, I hate hard luggage. I just hate hard luggage. I don't like it. So I use soft bag on the back. You can use any sort of dry duffel bag or roll bag you can put here. Works fine for me. And that's about it for luggage. Just keep it simple. Use the side bags. If you're going to go camping or whatever, you can put a soft duffel up here and then have a tank bag. And that's kind of all you really need. Okay, trying to get towards the end of this video here, so a few more things I want to talk about. Cell phone holder. I do like the RAM mount holder. I held out using these for many years. I watched all my friends use them. They just didn't look that sturdy to me. But now that I've actually used it, the phone just doesn't seem to move. I tried a different kind of holder. I'll put a photo of it here, which doesn't work on the larger phones that I have now. But this X grip really does work well. You can position it everywhere. I mean, I do love RAM mounts, and I've been using them forever, and they work great. The other thing, I do have the BMW nav unit on this bike. Let me see if I can turn this on here. So one of the things I like about the nav, well, I like a lot of things about this nav, but what's nice is that, oh, here we go. So you see, you can use the Wonder Wheel on the bike to control the different screens, and as you're riding you can scroll through. So I've got all my statistics and data here on the motorcycle: tire pressures, temperatures, odometers, voltmeter, all that kind of crap. And then you can scroll through and you can do your navigation. You've got a map page, You can configure all this stuff, and again, you control it all through here, which is really nice. You can zoom in and out. So if you have a GS with the mount, I would recommend, I bought mine used. This is the Nav 5. I think the Nav 6 is the current one, but the Nav 5 is basically just as good. It just doesn't have as bright of a screen. So I recommend having the Nav 5 or the Nav 6 if you have a GS, because it just works so awesome the way it integrates to the motorcycle, and it's a good GPS unit. So definitely recommend it. I bought mine used, and it wasn't too expensive. I did want to mention tires real quick. So in my other video, some of you guys saw that I was running the Bridgestone. I think it's called what is it called? Battle Axe? No, Adventure Cross. I don't know. I'll put the yeah, it's called Adventure Cross AX41. The reason I got these tires really was just because Chaparral had them on sale. The set of tires was super cheap. It was like $250 for the set, which if you've priced out these tires for these bikes is really, really cheap. Let me show you the front one. They work pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with them. The way that they work, I think they look awesome too. They don't have that tall of a tread depth, so I don't know the mileage. I don't think the mileage is going to be too good. But they work really well on the street. They're not too loud. They corner well. And off-road, they hook up really well. We rode through some mud and snow the other day, and they were just fine. So I'm impressed with them. They mounted easily. But there's so many good tire choices for the bike. I'm not a fan of hiding-out tires. They're way too hard for me. They last a long time, but they feel like they have no grip, in my opinion. So I didn't like those. But there's a lot of good tire choices out there. It's a great time to be an adventure biker. So there's my brief thing on the tires. The stock tires were the Anarchy 2s, I guess, or Anarchy 3s. I don't know. But they're pretty much a street tire. And if you're going to go off-road, they don't really work too well once you start hitting sand or mud or anything like that. So, one other thing is that I like these tank traction pads. I think they look really badass and kind of help with the black accents on this bike, particularly for my color scheme. But what I like is that they provide grip for your knees against the tank, whether you're standing or sitting. So I like to put these on my bikes. They're called Snakeskin. They're made by a company called TechSpec. And I recommend those. Those are a good mod too. So, okay, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you want to see future videos, please subscribe. Thanks for your support, and we'll talk to you later.